Hello friends! Today I want to talk about the design word value. Value means the amount of light or dark in a color. To make a color look lighter, we add white to the color. To make a color look darker, we add black to the color. The more white we add to a color, the lighter it'll look and the higher the value of the color is. The darker and the more black we add, the lower the value of the color is. Value gives our paintings contrast, which we've talked about a lot in class, and it also makes our paintings more interesting to the eye. Our lesson plan that you've gotten on your email shows a gradient color scale. Now, gradient is a word that just means something going from light to dark or dark to light. So on one end, it's going to show a color from the darkest part with the black added, and then it's going to go all the way to the lightest part where there's white added. So what we're going to do today is a painting, a landscape, where we're going to use just 3 colors. And we're going to get all of our different shades by adding white or black. So today I've chosen to use red, and then I have a generous amount of white and black. And I'm working with acrylic. You can work with tempera as well. And then we have our water cup and paper towels. I have a canvas, but a piece of paper will work just as well. Just make sure it's strong enough for paint. And then I have a large paintbrush and a smaller one for fine details. I want to just show you some other paintings before we get started that will demonstrate value as well. These are some really simple paintings here of 3-dimensional boxes, but if you notice here, this is just yellow, and they've added white and only black, with the yellow, with the red, and with the blue. And you can see how the colors look completely different depending on how light or dark it is. This is a wonderful painting too. I love how this painting really shows value as well. And you can see in certain areas of the painting where, for instance, the checkerboard here was all done with the same color. It's just they've added some white to it. And here you have the dresses, all done with the same red tone, but he's just added a lot of white. The more you look here, you can see how value was very important to this artist as he was painting this painting. So let's get started. I'm going to do a simple landscape painting here using our 3 colors. The first thing I'm going to do is start with my larger brush, and I'm going to dip it right in the red. We're going to take our purest tone. I'm going to take the red and go right across the middle of the top of our paper here, or our canvas. Just straight across. Now, when we are looking out at the sky, out at the horizon, the darkest colors will be towards the top of the horizon, because the furthest point away, the atmosphere always makes the furthest point away look the lightest. So we're going to start with the deepest, darkest red being the furthest point, farthest up in the distance, the highest point that you can see. From there, I'm going to just take a little bit of white And I'm going to start blending it in at the bottom. Now imagine that we're looking out through some trees at a beautiful sunset. And the more white that I add, we're seeing further and further out into the sky. Just keep adding your white and going side to side while brushing your paint further down your canvas. And see how the value of my red is getting lighter? And it's all right for me to go down a little bit more because I'm going to be covering this now with some darker paint. Now up here, I'm going to bring the more red a little bit higher up. And I might even want to make it a little bit darker from here. So I'm going to dip a little bit of black on my brush, just a little, and start adding that to the top. Now I don't want the whole top of my sky to be black. I think that would be very ominous looking, like a bad storm were coming. So I'm going to just keep mixing in my red so I still have a very reddish looking sky. So here's our sky. Now we're going to start working on some trees. So if you're looking at trees in the distance, the furthest trees you will see will be the lightest color of tree. So we're going to take our gray. We're done with our red now. So we're going to take a little bit of black. Now the black is very powerful, so we just need a little tiny bit of black on our brush. And we're going to come over here and put it right in our white, straight in our white. Mix it right up so we have our lightest gray possible here. There's my lightest gray. Now I'm gonna make a line sort of across here, and that's gonna make my line of where my land is. And it doesn't have to be straight. Remember, we don't need to have everything perfect here. You might want to give some indication of like a rock, a bump, a hill. Maybe we'll do another little rock over here. Right? And then we're going to make a nice strong tree shape. In the interest of time, I'm not going to worry too much about putting leaves on my trees. I'm going to just fill in a little bit more earth down here below my trees. And then I'm ready for my next layer. My next layer is going to be a little bit darker. So we're going to take a little bit more of that black and mix it right in our white. And we want it to be sort of the next shade up from the gray. So check in and see, is there enough of a difference between the first gray that you used and this next gray? And if there's not, just add a little bit more black to it. So again, we're going to make maybe a couple of bumps in the ground. And then we're going to put our tree in. Add some more trees on this level, and then you don't want to put them right on top of your other trees because we want to make this look like a very full forest. Don't be afraid to overlap. And in class, remember, we talk about we want to make our art look like a lot's going on. So feel free to make it look like it's overlapping and touching. Art likes to share space. And then finally, for our last layer, the part that would be the closest to us would be the darkest. And that we will just use straight black paint. So the black paint will come straight across for our final layer. And then we add our tree. There we go. We have our finished sunset. Thank you for joining me, everybody.